We call the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting for Tuesday, June the 27th to order. At this time, I'd ask you to please stand as we ask Brother Elliot Henhouse from Bartlett Baptist Church to come lead us in opening prayer. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards.
Let's pray together. Well, Lord, we love you, and we want to thank you for being such a great God to us. And Lord, taking care of us on the mountaintops and the valleys and the sunny days and through the storms, Lord. So we want to pray that you would take care of us now. We pray that you would be with our citizens as they get their yards and their businesses back together. Lord, we thank you for our mayor and the aldermen, fire and police, and the city workers working so hard to get things back like they should be. For tonight, Lord, we want to pray for wisdom and understanding from our leadership, Lord. We trust in you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Our pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you read the future meetings into the record, please?
Future meetings: Bartlett Station Commission, July 5th, 7:30 p.m. City Beautiful Commission, July 6th at 6:30 p.m. Beer Board, July 10th at 6 p.m. Planning Commission, July 10th at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any scouts seeing no scouts in the audience? Now we move to the official business today. Before we do, I'd just like to say, hopefully, if you're watching, you've got power, and we're beginning to see a lot of that improvement of slowly but surely. Just was told Light Gas and Water just this afternoon that they'll have 10 more crews making 100 repair crews, which is a daunting task just looking around our town. Had 79 tree trimming crews and 50 instant teams and damage assessment teams and 40 troubleshooters. Just as my radio went off as I come in here, I heard there's a fire call for one of the tree trimmers out there. Got hit in the head with a large piece of a tree, got a big knot on his head. So it is dangerous out there, and thank you, Pastor, for praying for their safety. And with your directors and your city employees, I want to just say thank you. Many of them have been up all Sunday night and worked all day Monday and worked all day today. And I just want to thank y'all for all the hard work and the work that y'all have done from every department, because this has affected everyone. And from keeping your water in your faucet to cleaning the debris to directing traffics. And kind of our theme is hometown proud. And I can't tell you the comments that I heard from individuals that told me that how pleased they was to come through Bartlett and seeing, there was Jeff just down the front row, and seeing our policemen out there directing traffic, making sure that the traffic flows. If you go to the city website, we've been trying to update that at least twice a day. You can find out the intersections that we're having trouble with. You can find the locations of where we have down trees on power lines. Most of the roads, all the roads are cleared, I'm told, other than those that have power lines that the tree is on, and we're waiting for Light Gas and Water to assist us there so that no one gets hurt. But if you have questions about what buildings are on, other than City Hall being on a generator, I think somebody said we just got Bartlett Station on just a little bit ago. For the most part, this is the only building that's been in operation other than a few little satellite deals. So go to the website. One of the things that we have done is trying to keep that updated. I'd like to say, too, that going back to, it was really proud that if you had power and you was able to watch News Channel 3 this morning, there's a pretty cool little article about Bartlett over there. The TVs, all the stations are reporting that we was one of the most severe hit towns of all of the municipalities. I know that everybody suffered a lot of damage, but we had more power outages in Bartlett than any of the other sister communities. But this morning I was pleased to watch it that Bartlett was talked about, that the reporter reported that we was one of the hardest hit cities. And the whole story, if you saw it this morning, was about that Bartlett's a community that rallies together during tough times. And he showed a story, and I'm just going to give this young man's company, his name is Eddie Robinson. He's talking about Green Elite Landscape. And Miss Betsy Canan was a homeowner, had a tree laying on her house. She called Green Elite Landscaping. They come over and remove the tree from her house. And she says, "How much do I owe you?" And he says, "Nothing." He said, "This is a great community, and nothing will break the back of this strong community." And he says, "There's no charge." So that just warms my heart. I think he went on to serve 6 other people. Even on my street Sunday night, we had large trees, oak trees across each end, and my story can be repeated by everybody up here about it had trees down. And the sun didn't go down that we had 15 or 20 neighbors with bobcats, chainsaws, in removing the trees. The elderly man that lives next door to me just made the comment. He says, "What a great community we have. I'm proud. This is my hometown." And as I drove through the streets, just like many of you, you've seen people out cleaning and working, and it's just, we've got a great community. We've got good employees. And I'd just like to say a couple of things. First, that we've had the Southern Baptist Convention Disaster Relief Team. Brother Danny Singfield reached out to me today. We've had Samaritan's Purse called yesterday and talking with Convoy of Hope. We should hope have some information about Samaritan's Purse and Convoy of Hope coming into town to help these residents that need help getting these trees out of the driveways or whatever they need. If you go to the website, you can see a number of the houses our code department's already deemed that has structural damage. The reports this morning we had at 9 o'clock this morning, we had 110 plus. But these areas are wanting to help the citizens that need help, the elderly people, and some don't have the health to do that. We're asking that we funnel those requests through our city chaplain. And Brother Johnny Bird, would you come forward and tell folks how to avail themselves that might need this, some help from the Tennessee Baptist Convention Disaster Relief? And hopefully tomorrow, the next day, we can let you know how you can access to get help if you're a resident from Samaritan's Purse or Convoy of Hope.
I actually just talked to Brad Ratliff at New Hope Christian Church on the way here. Samaritan's Purse is actually setting up their stand there. So they will be accepting folks at New Hope when they need help. I just found that out on the way here. From the Southern Baptist Disaster Relief, you can go to Bellevue. They have a form that you can fill out there. And yes, sir, you've got it right there. And the mayor's office will also have copies here at City Hall that citizens can come and pick up, fill out those forms, and they have about 100 folks ready to come out and help cut trees down and get things out of the way from those groups. Convoy of Hope is in the process of getting back with us, and they'll be set up at Legacy Church. So we have so many of those great folks coming out to help. The way you can get connected with us is you can email me at pastor@legacychurchbartlett.com, and we can point people in the right direction as they need those things. And that's pretty much all I got, Mayor. Again, personally, I just want to say I've been running my chainsaw too with people in my neighborhood and people around the church, and I cannot tell you how amazing it's been to watch our city come together and help people who are especially, we had a call this afternoon from a senior adult who said, my neighbors have these things down, and being able to have a city that's proactive and saying this is what we're doing next has been really great. So thank you guys, for our Alderman board, for all of our city workers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor. We will have these forms out in the morning here at City Hall if you need to. This Tennessee Disaster Relief, you will need to take that form at Bellevue Baptist or go directly to Bellevue Baptist to get a form. And then if you go to our city website, we'll get the messages out Samaritan, sorry, Pastor Johnny, but did Samaritan Purse say a time, or we know yet?
We don't know yet.
To be.
To assess New Hope and set all their stuff up.
So if you can't get a message, all else fails, drive by New Hope and find somebody. So I will like to say that today we enacted a cooling station. I think it closes at 7 today, and it's at Faith Baptist Church. So we have opened Bartlett Baptist Church, and Faith Baptist Church has offered to serve as cooling stations. Tomorrow they will open up, was it 10 or 12, Tommy, or tomorrow 10? Okay, there you are. So you're sitting behind the police department. Somebody's got to watch them, huh? So from 10 to 7 tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Hopefully, prayerfully, we'll all have power beyond that time. But if you look at the weather forecast, Thursday looks to be a very brutal day with the temperatures. So with that being said, we will now move on to the official business of the day. The first item of business is approval of the minutes from the June 13, 2023 Board of Mayor Alderman meeting. If there's no corrections, omissions, or errors, the chair would entertain a motion to approve.
Move we approve.
Duly noted by Alderman Reeves.
Second.
And seconded by Alderman Robert Griffith. Is there any discussion on the approval of the minutes? Seeing none, will you please go to your device and record your record? And while they're doing that, I'll make note that Alderman Jack Young is not with us tonight. He is tending the grandkids on the beach in Florida, I'm told. Thank you. Motion to accept the minutes is unanimous. Second item on the agenda tonight is the consent agenda. There's 4 items on the consent agenda tonight. Any of these items can be removed for separate discussion by any member of this board. Is there any item that any member would wish to remove for separate questioning? Seeing no one wish to remove an item for separate discussion, Madam Clerk, would you read items 1 through 4 into the record for us, please?
Number 1, special event permit for Stanky Creek Trail Race, 50K, 25K. Trey Arthur, Director of Codes Enforcement. Number 2, bid for alternate pricing for fire alarm panels, strobes, and horns for Singleton Community Center. Shan Criswell, Director of Parks and Recreation. Number 3, property, general liability, auto, workers' compensation, and other insurance renewal. Dick Phoebus, Director of Finance. Treasurer's Report for May 2023. Dick Phoebus, Director of Finance. That's all.
Motion by Alderman Reeves.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Bobby Simmons. And please go to your device and record the manner in which you wish to vote. So the consent agenda is approved, unanimous. Decision to approve that under new business tonight. Madam Clerk, will you read item number 1 into the record?
Resolution 14-23, a resolution to amend the FY 2023 general fund budget to provide funds for LED street light conversion project.
We have Dick Phoebus, who's the Director of Finance before us, and then he will be followed by CAO Steve Soames to give an update with the agreement with Like-Us Water.
Resolution 1423 transfers $1.35 million out of the fund balance into the capital improvement fund for the purpose of funding the LED street light conversion project. And I think Mr. Soames has some additional comments in that regard.
Mr. Soames, you're recognized.
Yeah, so just really want to give an update on the agreement itself. So as we've stated, we've talked about streetlights a lot, but before we can proceed, we've got to basically initiate a new agreement with MLG&W. So this new agreement basically involves two parts. So part one is the purchase of the new assets themselves, so the new streetlights. These funds in our FY23 budget will go to a portion of that, and then the remaining funds we'll seek in our FY24 budget, and that'll cover that. So currently in the agreement, the fee part is agreed upon. Everybody understands. What we're still negotiating with MLG&W is the terms of the future investment charge. So what that means is once the LED conversion is complete, all the streetlights that are in place are our assets, essentially, that MLG&W is basically operating for us. The investment charge will be future additions, so anything added to that streetlight plan account. So we're trying to do it where we avoid any type of investment charge. So essentially, we don't want to incur 10.41% of debt on any charge that comes up. So we've worked with the town of Collierville on this to come up with an agreement that would essentially be amicable to both of our respective communities. We submitted some language to MLG&W last Friday. We have not got a response from them. Obviously, Sunday they were dealing with some issues just like we were. So I would anticipate that as soon as they kind of get caught back up, we can resume those negotiations. I feel pretty confident. We had a good call with them, that everything will be, we ended on a positive note. We're going to get this wrapped up pretty soon.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Recognized Brad King is the motion maker. Second. Properly seconded by Alderman Robert Griffith. And is there any discussion? Here. Yes, Alderman Reeves, you recognize.
If I could, when do we think we start on this project, and what's kind of the runway on it in terms of the terms?
So they're still wrapping up their project, obviously, currently. So in the agreement, the start date, we're asking them to start before December 31st. That's the point. And then they're telling us initially that it would take roughly 3 weeks to complete the install for our community. So the hope would be by the end of January, worst case scenario, that we have everything completed. But again, once we finalize the agreement, then we can come to a conclusion on the terms, and then I can provide an additional update when all that's done.
So this is just a matter of months after we get.
Yeah, really just them getting the assets in, you know what I mean, arranging for install, completing their portion of their project, and then moving on ours.
All right, thank you.
Mayor.
Alderman King?
Hey, have we settled up with PATH yet on what we owe them?
We will not until we wrap up everything here with MLG&W. So
leave that open until everything's wrapped?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
At this point, till an agreement's met, leaving all options. Anyone else question? If not, Madam Clerk, will you put here we go. So if you please go to the device and record your vote. Item Resolution 1423 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, will you read item number 2 into the record, please?
Resolution 1723, a resolution to donate surplus personal property to the Rossville Fire Department.
Dick, we was going to let, you can go first, Tommy, you can follow.
Anytime we donate money to another local government, the city board is required to adopt a resolution to that effect, and we are donating property to the Rossville Fire Department in this resolution, and with that I'll let Mr. Gately, Fire Chief, discuss what's being donated.
Thank you, Mr. Phoebus. Good evening, Mayor and Board. The Fire Department would like to donate an SCBA air compressor to the Rossville Fire Department. The SCBA air compressor that will be donated is a 1988 model. original to fire station number 3. So it's been around, it's very well used. It's just not as reliable, obviously, as a newer piece of equipment. And then 2, when it does break down, the parts are hard to find because of the date of service. It is being replaced by grant through Shelby County for $46,000 here probably in the next 2 weeks. So we'd like to donate this property to be utilized by another community.
Been properly motioned and properly seconded. Is there any questions while we have Chief Gately at the podium? Seeing no questions, please go to your device and record your vote. Looks like the town of Rossville will be getting a 1988 compressor. So, 5-0. Madam Clerk, will you read item number 3 in the record, please?
Resolution 1823, a resolution to amend FY 2024 Grants Fund budget to recognize State of Tennessee Office of Criminal Justice Programs grant totaling $284,217 to the Bartlett Police Department for public safety equipment and supplies.
We recognize Finance Director Dick Phoebus.
This resolution, as stated by the clerk, provides for acceptance of a $284,000 grant from the Office of Criminal Justice Programs, State of Tennessee. It's split between supplies and vehicles, and police chief may have comments in regard to what we're doing.
Recognize.
This is a reimbursement grant. It's not, we don't get it until we spend it type thing, so we'll be reimbursed for the cost.
Chief Cox, you mind giving further explanation?
Oh yes, so earlier this year the governor had put together some funds for us to put into aid in fighting some crime, and so this is a grant that the Governor Lee gave us, an individual grant, and we're going to use the money to buy police cars to put them out on the street to aid in the fight of any kind of crime that we may have to deal with. We also have in the future coming up a cooperative grant that we took the lead on with us in the city of Germantown and the city of Collierville, and so we'll have more on that as it gets approved and gets the funds to us. And so it's just another way that we're trying to use all the monies available from our state to make sure that our community is safe. And so we're looking forward to doing that. Just give a 10-second version on PSAP, how it's coming over there construction-wise. So we have been moving dirt. The sun has been shining the last few days, and they have moved our dumpster, and they have gone and started the footings for our building. And so you're going to start seeing some plumbing being put in the ground and some concrete being laid. It's really exciting times to see that happening. Thank you, Chief Cox. Just 1 second, Alderman Reeves.
Yeah, probably easy question. I know a lot of times when we have state and federal grants, sometimes it kind of comes with a requirement to continue city funding of certain things into the future. This is like one-time expense. There's no reoccurring expenditure that we're expected to continue to fund as a result of the outlay from the state, right?
No, sir. All the things that were available on the grant and approved by the Highway Safety Office was equipment mostly. That's going to be a one-time purchase that will be able to be used. It will not be, once the grant is over with, the money has been dispersed and spent, it will no longer be able to have to do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. Sorry.
Motion. All right. Well, Alderman Kevin
there.
Quinn has made the motion to approve.
I don't like how these guys were debating money for the police department.
Properly seconded by Alderman Brad King. Is any discussion? Hearing no discussion, please go to your device. Doing a good job tonight, keeping that up there pretty quick.
Yeah, if you can find it. Yeah.
Okay, Resolution 1823 passes unanimous. And Madam Clerk, you read item number 4 in the record, please.
Resolution 1923, a resolution of the City of Bartlett authorizing the city to utilize pricing established by competitively bid contracts, sponsored by Savick Buying Group.
Mr. Dick Phoebus, Director of Finance.
This resolution, in light of supply chain issues and the fact that it takes a very long time to get equipment if we bid it out. This is another example, just like Sourcewell that we're currently using. The Savick Buying Group has been competitively bid by a group in Minnesota, I believe, and it has been approved by the State Comptroller's Office as a legitimate use of public funds for purchasing. And this, the Savick Buying Group deals with public safety, ambulance, fire department equipment such as that. And if approved, I think the fire department would like to purchase one of its ambulances that's already been approved for purchase. We just contract the time necessary to buy it. Is that correct? Yeah.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve Resolution 1923? That was a motion made by Alderman Robert Griffith. And is there a second?
I'll second it. I have a question.
Alderman Reeves made the second, and Alderman Reeves, you're recognized. We'll move to discussion, and Alderman Reeves, you're recognized.
Yeah, so as it pertains to Savick, I know, are we only following like a low bid rubric, or is there a qualitative component of evaluating and bidding certain agreements to make sure we're getting a quality contract?
I've put some information in there. Eagle County Health Service District is the one that actually submitted the bids and purchasing agreement for Savick, and they did have requirements in their bids. Certain specifications had to be met, so I believe it's not only the lowest but the best bid possible.
What I think you're looking for, Alderman Reeves, is the best bid.
Best bid, like we're not paying what we're getting for. I mean, if we go with a low bid, a lot of times low bid winds up biting us in the rear end. So I'm wondering, do we just make sure that we have enough qualitative qualifiers into the bidding process?
On this, Chief Gately, we recognized.
Yeah.
We discussed it briefly in the budget meeting earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So the way this one would work is it will match the current equipment that we have, the same specs, and really will save probably anywhere from, I would say, 6 to 8 months as far as build time. The projection on this ambulance here would be by July of next year, and it'll match the current fleet that we have. So we don't feel like we've compromised anything on quality, being the same manufacturer with the same specs. However, just that time frame of not having to bid it out, and two, having the placeholder that they put in about 8 to 9 months ago for us with no commitment.
Okay.
Will ask the person.
Just make sure we're not sacrificing quality for speed.
Exact same as the fleet that exists.
Perfect. Thank you.
You good with that? Thank you, Chief Gately. Is there any other questions? If you would, please go to your device and record your vote. Motion carries unanimous. So, Madam Clerk, will you read item number 5 in the record, please?
Resolution 2023, a resolution to approve amendment to the funding policy of the City of Bartlett Defined Benefit Plan.
Mr. Dick Phoebus, Director of Finance, you're recognized.
This resolution is necessary because the funding policy that was adopted by the City of Bartlett Pension Committee and the copy that the State Comptroller had some differences in wording, and it turns out that they had an old copy of the funding policy that we sent in back in 2015. This policy was adopted, I believe, in December of last year. It's effective July 1 of 22. It was approved, I believe, by the pension board, but it was never brought to the attention of the board, and the board has to approve it as well as the pension committee. So this is the funding policy, and the differences are, if you looked at the policy itself, on page 2 of the policy, in actuarial evaluation, we initially had in, it would be, the valuation used would be frozen initial liability actuarial cost method. Well, I know this is technical stuff, but governmental accounting standards require you use in evaluating a pension to use the entry age normal actuarial cost method, which is what our actuary did when they developed the report for the city. But because his report different from what the state had, they brought it to our attention. So this is the solution to get in compliance with the state on this particular policy.
Thank you. Thank you, Dick. Is a motion to approve or disapprove? Motion made by Alderman Brad King and seconded by Alderman David Reeves. Any questions for Mr. Phoebus at this time? Any discussion at this time? Hearing none, please go to your device. Motion, Resolution 2023 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, will you read item number 6 into the record, please?
Resolution 2123, a resolution to provide a period for public comment on agendas at City of Bartlett Board of Mayor and Alderman meetings and Board and Commission meetings.
At this time, we recognize Mr. Ed McKinney, the City Attorney, for explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a pretty simple resolution. The legislature passed a law that goes into effect next week requiring all cities to allow public comment regarding any matters that are on the agenda for a particular meeting that are germane to that. Bartlett already does that and has done it for a long time. He said we don't limit it to just items that are on the agenda of any particular meeting. This resolution is to be consistent with state law, but it's actually a little bit broader than state law. We still allow comment on any topic. There are certain restrictions, and Ms. Madlock has, during the past a couple of months, been doing what the law is going to require. You're supposed to submit a statement, a form showing that you want to speak and what your address is and what topic you want to speak on. So we're doing that. We're making clear that this isn't just something where they can direct questions to board members. This is to make sure we know what the public's thoughts are about particular topics. And it's pretty much a housekeeping resolution.
Thank you. Is Chair entertain motion?
Move we approve.
Alderman Griffin made the motion to approve.
I'm sure I'll second it. Sorry.
Seconded by Alderman Kevin Quinn. So now we open the floor for discussion. Alderman
Yes.
Quinn, you're recognized.
In reading this first part about not a forum for dialogue, discussion, or verbal exchange with the board, are we confined to that, or is this just setting up what the state was calling for as a minimum?
Oh, no, we're not confined. I mean, you can talk about whatever topic you want to get into, and we try to make that clear in the resolution.
Oh, well, I mean, in the first part, in paragraph 1, which starts with open discussion, I was just a little concerned because it talks about we're just kind of sitting here like the Easter Island statues and taking, not having a dialogue. I didn't know if it was limiting us to not, for the mayor not to be able to say anything, or us not to be able to say anything, or is this just the state minimum?
That's the state requirement.
Okay,
you can't be disruptive. That's what that particular provision is for.
Okay.
It's only happened one time in the last 20 years, but we had to actually I shouldn't say threaten, but advise a particular person that he could be escorted from the meeting if he didn't conduct himself appropriately. Bartlett hasn't had an issue with that. Some cities have, we've not, but this is the law in Tennessee, and that particular provision, Alderman Quinn, was simply just set forth that it's consistent with Tennessee law.
So is that a yes or no?
It's not prohibiting us from responding. It's just saying
No.
It's allowing us.
Okay, so this. Okay.
Yeah, so it's allowing. It says that it doesn't require an
okay,
response.
I just want to make sure.
Right.
I make sure.
Right.
Yeah, not that I don't trust attorneys. I just want to make sure we weren't confined to the mayor can't even say anything because we just have to.
You're not being confined.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
I do have one comment on that, though. I've served on 2 other boards, school board as well as county commission. We do not have interactive dialogue with people who come up and make comments. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure that's a good practice. I mean, I know that we do it here, but also it puts us, I think, a little bit in jeopardy at times. We make commitments in public to people that are standing before us, or it also can create a situation where things escalate. So I'm really interested in an opinion at some point as to whether or not that's something we want to lock down in our policy or not.
The statute only requires governing bodies to do that. Other bodies are not required to. Some do, some don't. But it can become disruptive. School boards oftentimes experience disruption when it comes to topics like that. And the state is not requiring that with anything other than governing bodies.
Yeah. I think we can talk about that later. I mean, it's not burning on my agenda or anything like that, but I think it's something we need to talk about because it can escalate very quickly when you're having dialogue back and forth addressing an issue.
I understand.
We're not really getting into the dialogue. This is them making their thoughts known. We're not really suggesting that there needs to be dialogue between, like someone shouldn't point to Alderman Quinn and try to put him on the spot and try to make him respond to a particular comment or concern. Express their concern, but it's not really a forum for open dialogue. Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more questions for the city attorney? Thank you, Ed. So we've been properly motioned second and in discussion, and please go to your device and record your vote. Resolution 2123 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, will you read item number 7 into the record, please?
Resolution 2223, a resolution to amend the FY 2023 General Improvement Fund budget to increase computer maintenance expenses and recognize projected use of fund balance.
Dick, you're next. Ed. I'm sorry, at this time we recognize Mr. Dick Phoebus, Director of Finance.
This resolution transfers our use of fund balance in our general improvement fund of $209,000. And the reason we're doing this, we have the option, the city has an option to either expense items that come in invoiced in, say, April or May, either in the year that we receive the invoice, or we could charge it to prepaid expense, which would move the expense into the next year. Historically, for the last several years, as far as I'm aware, we have expensed it. We charged it as a prepaid item, and because of some things requiring certain accounting procedures to be done, it's simpler, I'd say, for us to expense it in the current year. And in order to do that, we need to increase the computer maintenance line item in this general improvements fund by $209,000. That would allow us to do that. It's really just moving an expense from one year to the next. Next year we expense those invoices in that year, and we'll get caught up with it. So that's what this resolution does.
Motion made by Alderman Reeves.
Second.
Properly seconded by Alderman Robert Griffith. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion items, Madam Clerk, you put the resolution on the board. Resolution 2223 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, will you read item number 8 into the record, please?
First reading of Ordinance 2303, an ordinance to amend Title I, Chapter 1, establishing Robert's Rules of Order as the official set of procedures for conducting business at City of Bartlett Board of Mayor and Aldermen meetings.
Ed, I know you're chomping at the bit. We'll just leave you at the podium for the next two items. How about that? So, Mr. Ed McKinney, our city attorney.
Our city clerk gets the credit for this. She does a very, very good job, and she's very diligent, and she digs into things. I think I, probably every member of this board, and probably every member of the prior boards, thought that the city at some point had adopted Robert's Rules of Order. Ms. Medlock realized that we didn't do it. MTAS, and not that we're required to do it, but you certainly could. We've been doing it for years. We just haven't formally adopted that. MTAS recommends that we do. This is strictly housekeeping. This is simply adopting Robert's Rules of Order for these meetings and the meetings of the other boards and commissions.
Chair would entertain a motion. Or motion made by Alderman Brad King.
Can we make that motion to set the public
Yes,
hearing
ma'am.
for
I'm
July
sorry.
25th?
Thank you for bringing that too.
This is only for this board. I'm sorry. This is only for this board, not for all the boards and commissions, just this board.
So we need a second for discussion, but for discussion purposes, Alderman David Reeves did that, and his motion did include setting the public hearing for July the 25th. Alderman King, you're recognized at this time.
So Ed, on the other committees, so we need to adopt that?
Yes, like the Planning Commission would, or the BZA, any board or commission that chooses to do so can adopt its own. Yes. Yes. That's fine. We can do it. But yeah, but this is only for this particular board.
Y'all send us to school. We watched Zoom on it, and then it wasn't, a little interesting. Thank you.
So Alderman King, you recognize that it's up to that board or that commission.
Yes.
It's their discretion to do, not mandatory. Alderman Reeves.
So are we going to adopt the entire book? The only reason why I say that
The current edition, yes.
is because there's enough in there to tie this group in knots. If you have somebody we elect up here who loves to play the game of Robert's Rules of Order. And not you. I'm just saying, if you know how to play that game, you could absolutely railroad these meetings. So I'm just from other experiences, those are just one of those things. I'm good with it, but are we going to adopt everything in that book? Because there's certain things.
MTAS recommends that.
Okay.
Someone could do that. I've been on boards in which people have attempted to do that, but I think that's the exception rather than the rule.
Most of the time we've had to have a parliamentarian that really referees it when we have Robert's Rules of Order. Is that what you guys are going to do? Are you prepared to do that?
One city did hire a parliamentarian for a short period of time. I don't think that in Bartlett that's going to be necessary.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
If need be, the board has the authority to amend.
Oh, yes.
Board that out if so needed at a future date. So, any more questions on ordinance 2303? So, did you have a question, Kevin?
Oh, no. I'm just hoping that there's like a dummy version we can maybe go by the abbreviated. I know, Alderman, I know that you're going to be watching.
There's members that qualify that mayors. So anyway, any more discussion? Hearing none, please go to your device and record your vote on ordinance 2303, and it passes unanimous. So, Madam Clerk, we read item number 9 into the record, please.
First reading of ordinance 2304, an ordinance to amend Title 20, Chapter 1, Air Pollution Control Code to update permit and emission fees.
If a motion is made, please include setting the public hearing for July the 25th in your motion. At this time, we recognize Mr. Ed McKinney, the City Attorney, for explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an ordinance that we have to adopt every once in a while. Federal law requires permits to be issued and emissions dealing with air pollution. Shelby County Board of Commissioners adopts ordinances every few years that sets the fees. They did so in 2021, and they're recommending that Bartlett and the other suburbs adopt those fees. The amounts are set forth on the second page. There's a chart that sets forth what they are. This is another housekeeping ordinance, rather.
Move we approve, set the public hearing for July 25th.
Properly motioned by Alderman Griffin and seconded by Alderman David Reeves. Any discussion on ordinance 23? Alderman Quinn.
Hey, Mr. McKinney, do you know how many companies this applies to?
I'm sorry.
Do you know how many companies this applies to now?
I can't answer that.
I don't. Dick might could. I know in one of our meetings it's about $180,000, so I don't think it would be that many.
That's okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't think it would be for us versus Memphis or something.
It's more of a county issue.
That's
as far as numbers, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Chair's not recognizing any more questions, so please go to your device and vote on ordinance 2304. Ordinance 2304 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, you read item number 10 into the record, please.
First reading of ordinance 2305, an ordinance to amend Title 12, Building, Utility, etc., Codes Fee Provisions of the City of Bartlett Code of Ordinances.
And I'd like to just remind you again, please include setting a public hearing for July 25th, 2023 in your motion if you so wish to make the motion. At this time, the Chair recognizes Mr. Ed McKinney, the City Attorney, for explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the budget that was adopted this year, there were several fees that were increased dealing with building and utility, plumbing, electrical, fuel, gas, mechanical code, elevator permit and inspection fees, boiler, pressure valves, vessels, and process piping. That's all in the budget, and code enforcement has gone through and did a very good job setting forth what the current provisions are and setting forth what the change in the fees are. And in order to keep somebody from relying upon outdated information, we're simply updating our ordinance to set forth what the new fees are and to delete the language that is no longer going to be in effect. Again, housekeeping.
Okay. Chair would entertain a motion.
So moved, set public hearing for July 25th, 2023.
Thank you, Alderman King, for making the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Robert Griffith. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, please go to your device, record your vote. Ordinance 2305 passes unanimous. At this time, we will move to board discussion. Is there any item that anybody on the board would announce to the public? If the chair is seeing no one.
Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry, Alderman.
Point of personal privilege. I got my across the street neighbor, Terry Martin's here tonight. He said he's going to come by and see us and start coming to our meetings some. So I just wanted to send a shout out and say thank you for coming. I saw a big old trampoline roll down the street the other day and roll up in his yard and hit his truck. So he had some issues over at his house the other night. But thanks for coming out and appreciate you for doing that. And oh, by the way, my pastor is Brother Elliot Lindhoff from Bartlett Hills Baptist Church. So shout out, thanks for coming tonight.
You know how many stories we heard about trampolines this week? Steve could tell you one too.
Where you been?
Yeah. Alderman Quinn.
Hey, I just want to echo what you said earlier, and thank you. Acknowledging the hard work of everybody in the city, and also the neighbors. I know we've all gotten stories. I've been part of that. I appreciate Alderman Reeves picking up the school crossing sign and flashing lights. And that was nice of him. But it's been a lot of great stories about people clearing the streets, and it's not that Public Works missed anything. He says they can't be everybody can't be everywhere at once. The police couldn't cover everything. It's a huge city, and so it is great stories. Neighbors actually met people for the first time on their street, doing cleaning up work, and it's just a great thing that we have here. So just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Alderman Quinn.
Mayor,
Alderman King.
I will have to say, people think aldermen get special treatment. The power come on my street and it stopped at my house. So everybody down from me did not get power immediately. So that was hard to explain. And I think that also happened with Steve, didn't it? Did yours come on first?
Yeah, and then you must have made a call because it went off not long after.
So we do not get special treatment.
Okay. Anybody else? Robert, your turn now.
That's right.
You got a story to tell?
Let's hear about your power.
Yeah.
No, but the one thing I would comment on is I just want to thank the police department for, again, having all their officers at those intersections throughout the city. I saw so many comments, not only on social media, but so many people who stopped and told me how much they appreciated having our officers standing out there in the heat. And it was also nice to see, as you guys have commented too, how our neighbors took care of our police department. And I saw, as you drive through Kirby Whitman Stage, how many of those officers standing there with water bottles around their feet because our neighbors kept stopping by to give them something to drink while they're out there in the heat. So thanks to BPD for doing their work and taking care of our neighbors in the traffic, and also making it a little bit easier to move through Bartlett as opposed to our neighboring cities. And thanks to our neighbors for taking care of our BPD.
Thank you. Is anybody else wish to be recognized? Good. So again, kudos to all the city employees, and we do have, I mentioned the Limo GNW help, and we've got more help coming in with our brush pickup too. Aaron, would you mind coming forward and talk about, we've got a lot of questions about typical trash pickup. Will it be picked up on time, not time? And to kind of just give us a scenario tonight to where people can understand with their household trash is on track. To just make a comment on that, please. Give us an update.
So the household garbage is on schedule. As far as the trash trucks picking up trash, they're running on a schedule, but we're still on Monday route, and it probably won't be finished till sometime tomorrow. So we thought it would be done today, but it wasn't. So we only got 3 extra trucks today.
Okay. So thank you. Main thing is we want to know household trash.
It should be on schedule. Household trash should be on schedule. Still
on time. Thank you, Aaron. And our Assistant Director of Public Works. So at this time, I'm going to take a special privilege and ask Alderman Bobby Simmons and his family to join me down in the well.
This is my family.
Testing. There we go. We have Alderman Bobby Simmons down here tonight. He has some news he would like to share with you that we're disappointed that his events unveiled. But I'd just like to say that what a testimony of his heart of servitude for Shelby County and Bartlett in particular. I think Bobby has been here 19 years, and he will continue to be around, but he's got a real heart for Bartlett, got a wonderful family, as you'll see tonight. And so now I'm just going to give the mic to Alderman Bobby Simmons to make an announcement.
It's kind of dangerous. Yeah, I just would like to do it the way we do it tonight. We have more people that are in here instead of, 1 or 2 out of here. I have enjoyed serving the citizen of Bartlett as an alderman for 19 years. My retirement does not mean that I will stop being here for you. I know that everybody in the city of Bartlett has my phone numbers because I've talked to him several times. But anyway, this is what we've got, and we've got a great
City.
yeah. But it's real good. I enjoy what I do, and we're gonna just cut it sweet and get on down the road. But you gotta be inside, and I mean getting inside. So I'm gonna say, yeah, thank you, but I knew that was a nice thing to say.
Okay.
If anybody have a pine about anything, but
I think Carrie Vaughn wanted to come down and say something.
yeah, is Carrie Vaughn here yet? Yeah, Carrie, come on down. I want you to say a few words.
Let me just say this on behalf of the Shelby County Republican Party. Bobby, we thank you for your service. You served for 10 years as a deputy with the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. We're grateful for that. You have served the Republican Party for the last 30 years in many facets and roles, but also in that. And tonight, as the mayor has already stated, you give 19 years of sweat equity to your hometown that you love. And so tonight, we all resonate in one common theme. We thank Bobby Simmons.
Yes. Sherry, is any of you or your family members like to say anything?
We love you, Bobby. Bobby has really enjoyed his service with the city. We love Bartlett. We're just happy that we get to continue being citizens here. It's the greatest city, and we've enjoyed the 19 years that he's served. Thank you. Thank you, David, so much.
Thank you. It's a sad note that Bobby's retiring tonight, and we'll have more information coming forward to what that entails. But to thank you, Bobby, that it's making it official tonight that he's turning in his resignation effective July the 31st, and that will be an item on next month's agenda for the board to approve. But again, as our good friend Carrie Vaughn had mentioned, that tonight we just want to say thank you, Bobby, Sherry, and your family. All y'all have done for our community, and there'll be more to come. So at this time, I think I kind of got a line getting Aaron up here, but anyway, we was talking about something that made me think of that, and I can't remember what it was, but it don't matter now. The main thing is at this time, we've got several questions come into our office this week saying, in light of what all's going on, is the 4th of July still on? I'm going to ask Miss Debbie Jeleno, our Director of Community Relations, to get up there and let you know about an event next Monday.
Yes, sir. We are still doing our July 3rd fireworks show. It'll be at the Bobby K. Flaherty Municipal Center like it has been in the past. It starts on Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. The Bartlett Community Concert Band will play, followed by Kevin and Bethany Page after that. And we're looking forward to hopefully celebrating not only the 4th of July, but everyone having power again.
Yes.
And with a great 20-minute fireworks show, actually 20 minutes and 6 seconds. I listened to the music the other day. So we're excited. Everybody come out to Appling. We'll have the music. We'll have entertainment activities for the kids, a show and shine. We still have about 10 passes left if someone wants their car in the show and shine there, but they have to have a pass before they get there. All this information is on our city website and our Facebook page, which we'll update as we need to update. So we'll see you all Monday night. Can't believe it's 4th of July.
Thank you, Ms. Jeleno. I'm just looking at Paul. Just if you go to the Parks and Rec site, there's a number of our parks that are closed due to the damage. So you can go refer you back to the city website if there's any question. If you want to go to one of our city parks, you may want to go to the website to see if it's open or closed. Is there any other director have any item they'd like? Yes, ma'am.
Since these things are changing constantly, like twice a day and stuff, we are putting more stuff on our social media pages than we are our city website. So the city website, in the morning I'll have the form for them to put on there because we just got that today. But check our city Facebook pages, our social, our Instagram, Twitter, Nextdoor, all that. Those are going to be probably updated more frequently than our city website. So just make sure everybody checks those.
Thank you, Ms. Gelano, and I just want to reiterate that the form that you see is not to be turned in here. It can be picked up as a convenience for you, but it's to be carried to Bellevue Baptist Church. And if you do exactly what Ms. Gelano was talking about, we'll be forthcoming with other services that the community can avail herself of that would help the citizens with some of this damage. So, did all of the directors wish to say something get recognized? Yes, sir, Mr. McKinney.
I want to thank the board and directors for the prayers and well wishes for my wife. And I also want to do a shout out for the Bartlett Fire Department. I've lived in Bartlett since 1979, and I know what the city's resources are, and I know how good they are. It's one thing to know that intellectually. It's another thing to know it as a human being. My wife was discharged from the hospital, and then she developed a hematoma and lost a lot of blood. I thought she was going to die in my arms. I called 911, and they got there, and those guys were incredible. They got her stabilized, they got her transported to the hospital, and they were as professional as any group of paramedics could be. And I made sure to tell Director Gately that tonight. I mean, I've seen it up close and personal. I've never called 911 before. I was scared to death. I've been married 49 years. I thought I was going to lose my wife. And they helped the situation immensely. And God knows I appreciate the city. I appreciate the paramedics. Thank you.
Thank you. We just recognized a city employee out of the fire department today for the way she handled someone that was in distress. And, you know, you can go to a lot of cities and a lot of towns and you'll get service. But when we talk about hometown proud, that's stuff that money can't buy. For the way the civility and the comments we get continually about people in distress, and it costs nothing to be kind. So thank you again, and I'll reiterate thank you to all of our paramedics and medics and even the firemen. And even today, that the house fire we had today over here on Elmore, just the manner in which they respond. And so that's not to leave anybody else out. You're all appreciated for the type of heart and service you have for our city. And I want to say let me just say this, many of our employees that just come in anyway. We've had several in the code in just different departments that just came in. And this was my week of vacation, but I think our city needs help. So I'm going to forego my vacation and come. And I'd just like to recognize Tanya for coming in today instead of going on your vacation. That's the stuff that you can't put on a paycheck. So we're thankful for, and I'll be here all night, part of tomorrow, if I begin to tell all the different stories. But thank you, Ed, for opening the door for me to opening the door for that. If is there any other director who wish to be recognized? So seeing no one else jumping up and coming forward, if there's a citizen that completed the open discussion citizens forum prior to the start of this meeting, they may come forward and please state your name and address for the record. The citizen will have up to 3 minutes, at which a buzzer will sound, and we'll ask you promptly to sit down. So, seeing no one come forward at this time, I've got a good motioning and seconding board tonight. if they would motion and second to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Been properly motioned and second. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming.